say I'm shooting shots straight to the point, just like the podcast. Other teams, they run into my shooters, cause we got that. I killed the game and left the court with no condolence. I'm still gonna shoot my shot, no matter how big the moment is. She ain't like when Jay Best get on that phone. Yeah. You watch it from the TVs in your homes. Yeah. They finna like and sub and leave a comment down below. Yeah.
Yo, it's your boy Jay Bess and your boy Logan, and welcome back to the Straight to the Point podcast with our Super Bowl special. All right, Logan joined me today. We're gonna do a true or false segment. All right, well, I'm gonna read two statements, and we're gonna see if they're true or false. Following that, we have two blind rankings segments, and then we're gonna do our Super Bowl X factors and our Super Bowl picks. Right, pretty loaded show. But before we get into any of that, as always, I want to thank God for waking us up this morning, allowing us to talk about sports, which is something that we love to do. And without Him, we would not be here right now. Logan, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I mean, I'm shocked. You're never ready, but okay, sure. All right, but let's go ahead and get this thing started
It's
with
crazy.
our true or false segment. All right, true or false segment. So we all know that with Super Bowls, right? Not only do you get a ring, but you get placed in certain conversations, right? Because at the end of the day, this is the ultimate goal: is to win a Super Bowl. So real quick, Logan, if Sam Darnold wins the Super Bowl and wins Super Bowl MVP, will he be a top 10 quarterback? True or false?
False.
And tell us why.
I mean, I don't think it's a discredit to like what he's done all year. But I think respectfully, there's a handful. I feel like I can name 10 quarterbacks that I'd put ahead of him or who I'd want moving forward. Now, if he wins Super Bowl MVP, and he keeps stacking these years, because I think he's only 28, which is young in real life, but in sports world, he's getting close to that 3-0, which is when people typically decline. If he keeps stacking years and keeps winning, I mean, there's going to have to be a discussion to keep moving him up, because I think he's already proved a lot of doubters wrong. People said he couldn't win the big game, which I think is false now. Obviously, the Super Bowl is the biggest game, but you have to win a lot of big games to get to the Super Bowl, and I think he's done that this year and proven that he can do it. But as of right now, I think there's too many good quarterbacks in the league. No discredit to him, but I think it's more so of the Josh Allen's, Lamar, and Pat Mahomes of the world. There's too many good quarterbacks to put him top 10.
Okay, so I have been known to be the Sam Darnold hater, right? You remember when I had you on the show for my playoff tiers, I said this is the most fraudulent number one seed of all time, simply because of Sam Darnold, right? I just knew they would lose in the divisional round. Then they won. I just knew they would lose in the conference championship. Then they won, right? In large part of Sam Darnold's production. So I gotta keep the same energy that I had with Jalen Hurts last year. Because this is what we can't do. We can't do this. And I don't think you're doing this, but I'm gonna tell you what the world is doing. We cannot diminish and throw shade at Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson for not getting to the big game, right? And then when other quarterbacks do it, we don't really give them as much credit or as much, support as they should get for getting to that game. So if he wins it and wins Super Bowl MVP, then why can't he be top 10? I don't see why. I'm looking at the top 10 and outside of Mahomes, because the four is Mahomes, Lamar, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, right? And to me, that Joe Burrow conversation needs to be had because it's been a minute since he's been in the playoffs, right? I think we're still kind of stuck on that. Remember when they was calling it Burrowhead when he beat the Chiefs in the playoffs, right? We was kind of stuck on that a little bit. But outside of those four, I put Jay Hurts in the top five. That's just me.
And
Outside of
Stafford.
that, Stafford, okay, boom, you got Stafford. Then after that, it gets a little
It's dicey.
funky. Yeah, and I think that Darnold can be in that top 10. I think when you look at guys like Justin Herbert, who he has all the talent in the world, right? But where's the playoff success? And it's not even playoff success. Like if you're gonna lose these games, don't play like garbage in the game, right? Because I'm a big guy on that. Like if you go out there and throw two touchdowns, no interceptions, have a clean game, and you lose 28-31, I'm not gonna get mad at you, right? I'm not gonna get mad at you. But when you go out there and you melt down, that's when I say, okay, that's on you. These last two Justin Herbert playoff losses, well, the last three really, is on him. Against the Patriots, I mean, yes, the O-line was bad, but he didn't play well. Against the Texans, y'all defense was good, right? But he threw like four interceptions that game. And then the big lead that he blew against Jacksonville, you know, you can argue if the defense stopped playing defense or the offense stopped playing offense, right? I think that's a team loss, but you can argue like if you have a lead like that and you're a top 10 quarterback, you can't blow that lead,
Well,
right?
since he's brought up, who would you rather have, Sam Darnold or Justin Herbert?
That is that. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that because this is gonna whenever you say who's you rather have, 9 times out of 10 we go based off talent, right? And I think that Justin Herbert is a more talented quarterback than Sam Darnold, without question. Like it's not even debatable who's more talented. But I'm a production guy. I'm a wins guy, and you got to put that talent with some production and with some wins. Like we can't just say Justin Herbert top 10 because of talent forever. We at some point he got to put two and two together, right? If Sam wins, like this to me, winning Super Bowl is a big deal. And I think that the world has kind of like with the Jay Hurts situation, it's the same thing as last year. Jay Hurts won a Super Bowl and nobody wanted to elevate him because of whether they say his team was really stacked or he didn't have to do much leading up to the Super Bowl. But in the Super Bowl, he balled out. I've seen this man on two separate occasions outplay Mahomes in the Super Bowl. I seen it with my own two eyes, and they still struggle to put him top 10 and top five when he has something that Lamar doesn't have. He has something that Josh Allen doesn't have. He has something that Justin Herbert doesn't have. Like I think Super Bowl wins are valuable. So where do you stand on that when it comes to Super Bowl wins? Like, are you a QB wins guy? Are you a QB like talent guy? Like, what are you?
Well, I still want those. Would you rather have Sam Darnold or Justin Herbert?
I rather have
That's a definite answer.
I rather have Justin Herbert.
Okay.
But I told you why. It's because of
Yep.
its talents. It's because of the talent.
Yeah. So my thing with Super Bowls is obviously everyone views it as a quarterback award,
Yes.
and quarterbacks get too much blame when they're not winning, and they get too much credit when they're winning.
Mhm.
I think the whole thing people need to realize football is a team sport.
Yes,
Um,
100%.
the quarterback raises your ceiling and raises your floor if you got a good one.
Mhm.
Um, and I think when looking at a collective of a guy's career, like a like Philip Rivers is probably going to be a Hall of Famer. Never won a Super Bowl. He never even got to one. You have a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who's arguably the greatest quarterback other than Brady in our generation.
Yes.
Mahomes is probably up there too, and he's only got one.
Mhm.
And it's easy to play the whenever Brady and Rodgers were going at it. If you were to flip Brady to Green Bay and Rodgers to New England for their entire careers,
Oh yeah, yeah. You can do it.
um, you can do that. Now, I do think it shows how well guys play in the biggest moments, like the Philly Super Bowl. I think Tom Brady threw for like 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. Like, there's a reason he's the GOAT. And then when I look at guys like John Elway, who was before our time, but that was his biggest like knock because he couldn't win the big one, and then he won
Yeah.
two late in his career.
Yep.
And I think everybody could agree they'd rather have John Elway than a ton of other quarterbacks, but he didn't have that stamp on it that he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. So I don't really have an answer because it's so tricky whenever you get into that. And that's the whole thing with Jalen Hurts, I think, and it's the same thing with Sam Darnold now, is that people aren't saying that they're bad. Well, I think those words are coming out of people's mouth. They're not saying that they're good. And the reason behind that is because they think they could flip in a bunch of other quarterbacks and say, well, if Drake May was in Seattle, you think they'd still be there? And a lot of people
Yeah.
probably be, yeah, probably. If you put Justin Herbert in Seattle, probably. Jalen Hurts, yeah, probably. Um, so it gets dicey. I think Super Bowls is Dan Marino is the biggest example. Our dad's age, I mean, everybody their age say he's
One of the
should have
best
the
in the
convert.
league.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you talk about all the other old quarterbacks, about who they look up to. Everyone said Marino because nobody could touch him as a player, and
Yeah.
he never won the big one. Was it because of him, or was it because of the Dolphins?
I would
So
argue the Dolphins, yeah.
exactly, and so it gets real tricky, and that was Stafford's thing his whole career too until he went to L.A. Um, and it's hard to get there, and that's going to be Josh Allen and Lamar's deal before they could get there. Everyone that could watch them play could see, okay, that's a Hall of Fame quarterback, but they ever
But
going to win
yeah,
one?
yeah. And this is
Um,
like you said, the only position that it really matters for. We don't look at receivers and say, "Hey, how many rings
no,
do you have?" Like nobody cares about that. But for quarterbacks, it matters. And you brought up Aaron Rodgers. I'm glad you did because Aaron Rodgers, when I talk to people, it's hard to put him in the top five because everyone says, "How many rings does he have?" And as good of a quarterback as he's been, and like you said, he's top two since we've been alive. I think, right? Him and Brady. he only has one Super Bowl appearance. Like not even just a win. He only has one Super Bowl appearance. So it's hard. Like people will immediately put Patrick Mahomes over Aaron Rodgers immediately because of the success Mahomes has had. Right, Tom Brady over him. Right, people gonna put Joe Montana over him. When you can argue talent wise, nobody can mess with Aaron Rodgers. Right. But I just feel like if we're gonna punish quarterbacks for not getting there, then we have to reward quarterbacks for getting there. And when I look at the top 10, you're right. If I want to start a franchise, would I take Justin Herbert over Sam? Yeah, why not? Right? Because he's just more talented. But at some point, we got to say, man, when you have playoff success and you get to the Super Bowl, that matters. And that has to put you in conversation. So I'm going to say that he could be top 10 because I can't, I'm sorry. Like Herbert, I would, when we're ranking our quarterbacks, I would put him over Herbert. But if we were starting a franchise, I would take Herbert. You see what I'm saying? So it's hard. It's hard to have because
See, that
once
doesn't make
again,
that doesn't make sense to me.
this is my point.
Because
The
a
playoffs,
ranking is who's better. It's not talent. And
it's
you
not. It's
said
no. Exactly. It's not. It's who's better. It's not talent. Correct. Which is why I'm saying I would put Sam over Justin.
so you think Sam's a better quarterback than Justin Herbert?
In the biggest moments, yes.
Uh,
That's what it comes down to. So, for example, last year I was trying to make arguments that Jay Hurts is top three, and I wanted to put him over Lamar because I say, look at his numbers in the playoffs, look at Lamar number in the playoffs. When it matters most, who do you trust more with the season on the line or with the big game on the line? And I was making an argument for Hurts. So to me, in the big moments, that matters a lot to me because Lamar Jackson is marvelous in the regular season. We all know this, but in the playoffs, there is a significant drop off. I can show you the numbers, right? So that to me knocks you down in that top five a little bit. And I got to put guys who has been to the Super Bowl twice. Like people keep saying Saquon Barkley came and said, no. He was at the Super Bowl before that, right? Jay Hurts has been there twice, consistently in the playoffs. I get it. He has a good team around him, no doubt about it. But we're going to knock him for having a good team around him. Like Brady had a good team around him too, but
so
we don't say
would
that.
you rather have Jalen Hurts than Lamar Jackson as your quarterback?
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yes,
crazy.
that's yes, that's for sure. Yes, and that's the thing, though. You're specifically talking about talents because you think
No,
Lamar.
I'm talking about who's better, who I'd rather have. Now, winning in the playoffs is different, in my
Yes, and that's
opinion,
why I say that. Because who would I rather
because
have? I want to have a guy that can get me to the big game.
before this year, Josh Allen, every time he's lost,
It's been
I,
to Mahomes.
but he's had almost perfect games every single time. That's why this one hurts so much more, is because he had so many bad turnovers. That's why
Mm-hmm.
they lost.
Mm-hmm. That's why I have Josh Allen over Lamar. I'd rather have Josh Allen in the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, I agree. But my
Yes.
point to that is when you look at wins and losses in the playoffs, and that, again, back to my point where it gets dicey with quarterbacks is the same thing with Rodgers. The amount of playoff games he's lost that have nothing to do with the offense in general. And then when you start comparing playoff wins and playoff moments compared to each other, how much does it actually rely on the quarterback itself?
Yeah, it depends on the game,
Because
right?
if you look at Lamar's instance, if Zay Flowers doesn't fumble, they win that game.
Yeah, but if Lamar doesn't throw a pick in triple coverage, they also could win the game, right? So there was instances like, and I say this all the time with Lamar, every game he played that he lost in the playoffs, his stats were not good. There is no Josh Allen versus the Chiefs the overtime game.
I
The
agree.
13 seconds game. There is none of that in Lamar's resume. Every single loss he has at least two turnovers. And that to me is problematic. When in the regular season, we give you so much credit because you don't turn the ball over in the regular season. He has one of the best like TD to interception ratios, I think, of all time, low key.
Okay. So picking your team, you would rather have Sam. You think Sam's better than Justin. You think Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Lamar.
Yes. That
Okay.
is that
That's
is how I
crazy.
am. And once again, when it comes to the top five for sure, I have to separate you by can you get the job done? Because that's what matters. The ultimate goal is to get to the big game. Like we can't, and that's what I'm saying. People want to say Lamar's a fraud and Josh Allen's a fraud in the playoffs. But then when these other guys win the Super Bowl, it's like,
So if
cool, you
Sam
won the
wins a
Super Bowl.
so if Sam wins a Super Bowl, does that automatically put him above Lamar too?
No. I'm not that crazy. But I'm gonna put him over Justin.
Okay.
And I
So
keep bringing up Justin because he's a guy that I think is in everybody's top 10. And I would definitely take Sam. I'll take Sam over Jordan Love. I'll
so
take Sam over CJ Stroud. I'll take Sam over Justin.
okay. So you would take Sam over Justin and take Jalen
Yes.
Hurts over Lamar as your quarterback for your team.
Yes. If I'm trying to win a Super Bowl, yes. If I just want numbers, like, because this is
We
what you
can
also
we can
can
just
do.
sit on that because
You can
I
listen.
totally disagree. So we can go back and forth for an
You can
hour.
also do this because Lamar's best game and Jalen Hurts' best game is different. It's two different things. Sam Darnold's best game and Justin Hurts' best game is two different things. So who has the highest ceiling? That's a different conversation to me. To me, and that's what I mean. Like I'm a QB win guy. I think you're more of a eye test guy. That's what you
No,
are.
I'm
That's
more
why you
of
refuse
who
to
I
put
think's
Lamar,
better.
which is the eye test, right?
Well, it's not. It's eye test. It's numbers. It's how they've played, what they've done over their career. That's
Yeah, okay, what they done in their career? What has Lamar done of his career? The two MVPs, right?
two MVPs. I mean, it seems like he's made the playoffs every single year other than this year.
Yes,
Sustained success. He's done it more than one year. Like
yes.
there's
And
generational. Like
Jalen has, and I keep bringing this up. People hate when I bring this up, but he was supposed to win the MVP that one year, but he got hurt at the end of the season. He hurt his shoulder, and he missed like the last 3 games and ended up losing the MVP race. He was supposed to win it that year. I don't care what nobody says. He ended up being second team All Pro that year, and he has two Super Bowl appearances. So a potential MVP, two Super Bowl appearances with a Super Bowl championship and a Super Bowl MVP. Lamar has two MVPs, and you're right, he has that success. Like his career winning record is compared to losses is really good. Like I'm not knocking Lamar's career. I'm just saying in the playoffs, there's clearly a drop off. With Jalen Hurts, I can't say the same. And that's when I bring up the QB wins guy. I am a QB wins guy. I have to give it credit where credit's due. When people were struggling to put Brock Purdy in that top 10 to 15 range, I was saying he's top 10 to 15 because I seen him take the team to the Super Bowl. You can say he had a great team around him. Cool. But I watched that man do, and then this year to me solidified that. Like Brock Purdy to me is top 10, top 15, somewhere in that area. But people still struggle to do that. So what you don't think he is?
no, I agree with
Yeah.
what you're saying. My whole thing is like going back to the basis of it. Whenever talking about it's a team sport and doing the since it's all ifs ands and buts, and you're going off exactly what is a
What happened?
definite answer. Um, like do you think if you flip flop Lamar and Jalen Hurts, there's different drop offs at each team?
There is, I think the Eagles' success remains the same, right? And
And do
then
you think the Ravens get worse or better?
I would say they get worse by a little bit. I wouldn't say they're like a completely worse team. No.
So that to me is an example of you actually do think Lamar's better than Jalen, even though you said the opposite. Because if you're going to flip flop guys in two different positions and one stays the same, the other one drops off,
Mhm.
I feel like that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't you make a great point. And when I was doing my top five last year, I put Jalen Hurts over Josh Allen for the simple fact that
Which
he can
is
do. Wait.
crazy.
But once again, I'm a QB wins guy. So and I told people, oh, Josh Allen is way more talented. Like Josh Allen is a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts. But Jalen Hurts has when he gets Mahomes twice, outplayed him twice, and beat him once. Like Josh Allen has not beaten Mahomes. Like that matters to me,
Well,
right?
okay, and this goes back to the whole Dan Marino thing. Like people need to realize, yes, you compare Super Bowls because it's the most important position
Yep.
and the most important moments. But if Sam Darnold wins this Super Bowl, no one's going to say he's better than Dan Marino, who never won one.
No. Yeah, no. I mean, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not crazy. That's why I say like just active
So,
top
like,
10.
just because Jalen Hurts has one Super Bowl, I don't think anyone's gonna, well, other than you, is gonna say that he's better than Lamar.
So we're okay with the and that's my point. So you're making my point. I think we agree, but we
No,
see it
that
differently. No. You're making my point because you're once again you're saying the eye test, which is who's better. Who's better to me? That's what I mean by eye test, right? It's who's better. When you watch
I
the
know.
game,
Out
who
of
is
your
better?
mouth, you said you think Sam Darnold's better than Herbert, and you said you think Jalen Hurts is better than Lamar. Those words came out of your mouth.
I think that Lamar and Justin Herbert. I mean, this is my final statement. Lamar and
Okay,
Justin
because you've
Herbert.
already
Lamar and Justin Herbert are better in terms of talent to
no.
Jalen Hurts and Sam Darnold. The eye test will give you Lamar and Justin Herbert over Sam and Jalen. But
Yeah,
because
but
I'm a
it's not the
QB
eye
wins
test.
guy,
It's collective work. Like even though Hurts has the Super Bowl, I'd still rather have Lamar.
but let's not act like Hurts don't put up numbers too, though. Let's not act like he just
Yeah,
riding.
he puts up numbers, but if we're gonna like dig deep into it, he put up numbers with the best running back in the league, the best offensive line, and then
That's
he's got
not
two
fair.
number ones at
That's
receiver.
not fair. He
It's
went to
not
the
fair.
Super Bowl 2 years before that.
It's not fair to him, but that's the truth.
It's
Now
not true.
he still won, but that is the truth.
Because his MVP season, the second team All Pro season, was without Saquon. So we can't really bring
Yeah,
up
and still
Saquon as
had those
foundation.
receivers and still had that offensive line with Jason Kelsey tied it like
Oh my God. So
that.
because of, and that's another thing too I don't
And
like.
no, it's not because he's doing like he
What he's
did
supposed to
amazing.
do.
He's doing what he's supposed to do. My
Yeah.
whole thing is when you compare quarterbacks, you need to realize it's a team sport. More goes into it with just wins or losses. I'm not saying that the
100%.
best
That's why
quarterback of all
Lamar's still
time is
top
going to have
five.
the most MVPs because that was Brady's knock his whole career. Is like, well, I'd rather have Rodgers. I'd rather have Mahomes because they could do
Yes.
more.
Yes.
But when you look at it, collective work in total, I'd much rather have Herbert than Sam Darnold, and I'd much rather have Lamar than Hurts. And the reason behind that is, I feel like if you put Justin Herbert in Seattle and you put Lamar Jackson in Philly, nothing changes except this year the Eagles would be a lot
But then
better.
I can okay, relax. But then I can counter that with how do I know that Lamar and Justin Herbert's playoff woes are because of the team around them? What if it's just they can't get it done in the big moments? So if I put them on a different team and in the playoffs, they can still have that meltdown. Like we don't know that. If we're doing if ands and buts, like we don't know that for sure.
Well,
We don't
then,
know that.
so what's the difference between Sam Darnold winning 14 games in the regular season and playing terrible last year compared to this year? You're already putting him above Justin Herbert because he's now won 2 playoff games. Whenever
And win the
he's
Super
done
Bowl.
terrible in the playoffs and now
And
to the Super Bowl on a much better team and like
yes,
it,
and mind you, this is a if he wins the Super Bowl and Super Bowl MVP. It's not just today. Today I don't believe this, but if he
well
wins the
today
Super
you
Bowl,
already said that you'd rather have Sam Darnold than Justin Herbert. So
yeah,
that's my
that's
whole
that's that's if he wins the Super Bowl and Super Bowl MVP. This whole conversation is stemming off of him winning Super Bowl and Super Bowl
and you
MVP.
still would rather have Jalen Hurts than Lamar.
Yes, he can't win.
Okay.
I'm a winner. I like winning. I like guys that show up in the biggest moments and not guys that pee the bed. I'm sorry, that's just
Okay.
me. So like I said,
I
I'm a
think
QB wins guy, and it's
I think
cool. So
that's
we
crazy, but all
So
right.
it's not crazy to me. I had the numbers and I had the stats to tell you everything I need to know. Tell you everything you need to know. Sorry. And the next conversation is the same thing. So true or false? If Drake May wins Super Bowl and Super Bowl MVP, is he top five? True or false?
False.
See, and America. This is the. This is why I like Logan. I don't like him at the same time because we agree most of the time. When we disagree, it's obvious. Logan is a you can decline all you want to or deny all you want to. You're an eye test guy, and that's cool. I respect that, and I respect your decision because you are an eye test guy. I can't make
I'd
production.
rather have if he wins Super Bowl wins MVP, I'd still rather have Lamar, I'd still rather have Stafford, still rather have Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Mahomes. And that's
That's
five
where I
right off the
stop
bat.
you. Why. Why do you want Joe Burrow over Drake May? If Drake May wins Super Bowl MVP,
I think Joe Burrow is a much better quarterback than Drake May.
why? How can you say much better when Drake is second? Well, Drake is in the MVP race. So how can you say he's much better?
Well, I think Joe Burrow is a much better throw of the football. I think Joe Burrow's done it whenever he's had to put up numbers on offense. Joe Burrow's never really had a good defense. So I think he's done more with less. Um, and I've seen Joe Burrow carry the Bengals all the way to the Super Bowl, even though he didn't win because they didn't call the holding on Jalen Ramsey with a terrible offensive line and a terrible defense. Their defense was their offense. And that's the reason why he keeps getting hurt, because he's never had a good offensive line.
No doubt. So and then this is where the if ands and buts come in because you're gonna say flip the two and tell me what the results are. That's what we're gonna do, right? But I feel like we can't live in fantasy world. We have to live in the now, and the now is I feel like we are giving Joe Burrow, and Joe Burrow is great. Don't get it twisted. We are giving Joe Burrow tons of credit for what he did 5 years ago. Like we have to move on. At some
I,
point, we gotta move
I
on. At some point, we gotta move on. I'm sorry. I understand he's been hurt a lot. I get it. The defense has been terrible. But at some point, we can't just hold a spot in the top five of Joe Burrow because of what he did four
no,
or
but
five
his
years ago.
plays never declined. The only thing that's declined are the people around him.
And his availability, of course. Because that to me
Yeah,
is
but
why he hasn't been well.
that's a direct correlation to the offensive line problems in Cincinnati.
Yes. And it's unfortunate.
He's got no control over that.
It's unfortunate. But I can't just hold your spot whenever there's a guy who is this year, he beat Josh Allen for the division. He took a 14 win and made them a 14-win team. He also, like I say, won the division, made
What?
the playoffs. He's the
Okay.
first quarterback to ever beat three top 10, top 5 defenses. Sorry. in the playoffs. You can say he didn't play well or not. He had to play the toughest schedule in the playoffs so far in history because no other
Yeah,
quarterback has
he's
done it.
really good. He's not top five good. And I think this goes back to the thing I said to start the show was, I mean, people got to realize it's a team sport. Like, people don't win
You don't
games
win by
just
yourself, 100%,
yes.
100%.
And again, we can play this game. And I know you're going to do the whole, well, this is what I see. This is everything. Um, but like, we can't sit here and not act like if you put Joe Burrow on the Patriots,
Yes,
they're gonna have a different year.
yes, but I hate that. If my aunt had nuts, she'd be my uncle. Like I can't, we can't do that.
Yeah, and that's a problem.
You see what I'm saying? We can't like that.
Yeah.
That's my thing. I respect that statement. Anybody that comes out and say it, I respect it because you want to assess the situation. Like Joe Burrow's not in a good situation. These quarterbacks are in good situations. So if they was to switch
Okay.
with their,
Well,
I respect it, but
I got a hypothetical, or it's not a hypothetical. So the year Nick Foles made it to the Super Bowl and won
yeah.
it,
Mhm.
would you say, if we can go back in time, would you say he's a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers? Because no, not Aaron Rodgers. It's not who I'm trying to. Who am I trying to just? Oh, if he's a better quarterback than Cam Newton?
No, and the reason why because Nick Foles didn't have to do it the full season. He stepped into a good situation as a backup, and he only had to play like the last. It wasn't even the last half of the season. Carson
Okay.
Wentz
Well, I
got
got
hurt like
another one.
maybe
Speaking of Cam Newton, would you say the Panthers and Broncos that the best quarterback won that game?
the best quarterback at that time, at that point in time.
Yeah,
No, because Peyton's MVP year was like a year before that, right? Or 2 years before that.
multiple years before that. But that
It was
again is
in
to my
Denver.
point to where like it's a team game. It's about people around you. I think we can all say that if Cam Newton was on the Broncos, they would have won the Super Bowl too. If you put Peyton on the Panthers, they don't win that game.
100%. And then like Tom Brady won the Super Bowl 13 to
So you
35.
agree with the point that I've been trying to make this whole time, then, just by
There,
saying you agree.
it is a fair. No, I agree that's a team game. I agree it's a team game. Like that's not because like for example, Colin Cowherd came out and said that if Bill Belichick doesn't have Tom Brady, this is his win percentage. No, you can't do that. It's a team game, right? Because you can say, well, if Brady don't have Bill, right? You can do that with anything. It takes all 53 and all the coaches. Like the Patriots are showing you that right now on this Super Bowl run. This playoffs, I will not say Drake May is the number one reason why they made it to the Super Bowl. It's been coaching, it's been defense. Like it takes a collective. I completely understand that. But when it comes to quarterbacks, I gotta give you some credit. Cause I know because the Ravens were the best team in the league last year. They were. It was running through the league. It was running through everybody. They beat the brakes off the Bills in the regular season. So we can't say he wasn't in a good situation. Then he gets to the playoffs, has two bad turnovers. They lose the game, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh, Lamar's not in a good spot, or oh, we can't punish Lamar for like that's not fair. So we have to give guys who are in good situations like this year Sam Darnold or like this year Drake May, and they got their teams to the dance.
I agree, but I still think it's crazy to just put Drake May in top five conversations when you look at all these other quarterbacks and what they've done and what they still do.
If I take, and I wish I had these written down, so it's my fault. If I had everybody's best year, Drake May's season this year is better than for sure, two of the quarterbacks on this in this top five. No doubt about it.
Well, Stafford's already had a better year than him this year, so
Because he might win the MVP. But
well,
if
he should win the MVP.
so if Stafford's season, Stafford wins the MVP and he's first team All Pro. Drake second team All Pro, second in MVP race, gets Super Bowl MVP and a Super Bowl. I can't argue that Drake had a better season.
Well, if you're looking at those stats specifically, but I mean, I
That's
can
what
say
I mean. If you look at the
because
numbers
another guy in the top five like Joe Burrow's, what was it last year?
last year, 100 should have won MVP.
Joe Burrow's season last year was
It wasn't
way
terrible.
better than May's season this year. And then you look at Josh Allen's MVP year, much better year than May's having this year. And same with Lamar. And then we don't have to talk about Pat, and that's everybody in the list.
Yeah, that's not the conversation. Facts, it's not a conversation.
So that's everybody
So
on the list. They've all had better. If we look at MVP year or MVP caliber years, looking at 1 year, they've all had better years than Drake, and those are the top five.
so if we and once again, this conversation is after he wins Super Bowl MVP, then
I
that's the
know.
icing on the cake. That's the icing on the cake. None of those
Yeah,
quarterbacks even made the
that's what
Super
you play
Bowl.
the game for. But when you look at specific, just his season, all those other five guys have had better individual seasons with all
Yes.
accolades combined, stats, everything. They've all had better years than what Drake May's having this year. It's not to say he's having an incredible year. Like, I don't
No,
think
so
Stafford's going to be robbed if he wins MVP. But all those other five guys have had better individual years than what Drake May's having this year.
so quick question. You brought this up a couple minutes ago. Who is Drake May receivers this year? Last year, Joe Burrow had Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Who is Joe Burrow receiver this year? I mean, who is Drake May receivers this year?
Josh McDaniels and Mike Vrabel.
Oh, they're the reason why he's in the MVP
And then
race.
you look at the
Okay.
defense. He's had a great year. I'm not saying he's had a bad year,
No doubt. No doubt.
but
I'm just using your
I think
argument.
it's comparing apples to oranges.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm just using your argument because you said earlier about how like if you put this team on this, put this player on this team, whatever. I do the same thing. What if Drake May had Jamar Chase and T. Higgins? Then his numbers are even better. And he did this with bums. Is basically what I'm trying to tell you. They did it
well,
with superstars on his side.
they did it with running the football and having a good defense, and then using him making plays whenever the opportunity was there. Like,
Which
it's
was
not like
throughout the whole entire year.
it's not like he carried the team on his back, and that's the reason they're there. Neither of these quarterbacks did that. They got here by playing good, clean football.
Which is a flex. That's a flex to play clean football.
It's what you're supposed to do.
It's what you're
But
supposed to do. Facts. So when
whenever,
people don't do it, we got to punish them for it.
yeah,
Correct.
all those other quarterbacks pretty much have to put. Now you're going to bring up Lamar, and he has not done good in the year they had the number one defense. I do think he did not perform well that year specifically. But when you look at why teams win and the reason they win, I think that's the difference between those top five quarterbacks compared to these two guys in the Super Bowl. These quarterbacks aren't here solely based on themselves playing. They're here because they have a good team. They've both been playing well and taking care of the football. Back to my whole point. It's a team game. Neither of these quarterbacks, if they win Super Bowl MVP or win the Super Bowl, I don't think that naturally just progresses them way up the ladder and top 10 ranks.
So you just made a good statement, right? That the quarterbacks are not here because of them. It's because of a team collective, right? I can say that for Sam for sure, but I can't say it for the guy that's in the MVP race. I'm sorry, like that matters.
No,
He's in
okay. They've leaned on Drake more than Seattle's leaned on Sam.
100%.
But my point, I still stand by my point. Like, why are both these teams here? Both have the same reason: defense. They're both here because of their defense, plain and simple. And both offenses have taken care of the football, and that's what you got to do in the playoffs, and that's what they've done. Neither of these quarterbacks are here solely because of them.
On this, well, last week, if Sam don't play the way he played, they don't win that game. You agree? I know you agree because
I
Stafford
agree.
played great, but
Yeah,
Sam took it to another level.
Yeah,
And
I
then,
agree. And Stafford did that against arguably the best defense in the league. That's why I view him as top five more so than both of these quarterbacks. I don't think the Rams lost that game because of Matt Stafford. So I don't think you should put that against him, even though
oh yeah, no,
he didn't get that Jameis Winston eat a W.
No Stafford slander will be had here for sure. But hey, that's a good conversation, man. That's a good conversation. I think we both made fair points, and I'm eager to see what the people think because I feel like like I said, I'm a QB win guy, and that affects all of my arguments. So as long as you know that, and I keep it consistent, then that's all that matters. Okay. All right.
Yo, they feeling like in 7, leave a comment down below.